Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are jumping right into one of the most powerful rules in the entire universe. It's a principle that explains pretty much everything that moves, from a tiny apple falling from a tree to a baseball soaring through the air. Yep, we're talking about Newton's second law of motion. So, have you ever just looked around and wondered, why? Why does a ball shoot forward when you kick it? Why does everything fall down instead of up? These are big questions, but the answer is actually way simpler than you might think. And there it is. F equals ma. Just three little letters, but this equation completely changed how we see the world. This right here is Newton's second law, and it is the absolute key to understanding motion. Okay, so F, M, A. What do they actually mean? Let's break this famous formula down piece by piece so we can really get what's going on. First up, we've got F, and that stands for force. It's really simple. A force is just a push or a pull. That's it. It's the push you give a door to open it, or the invisible pull of gravity that's, keeping your feet on the floor right now. Next in line is M, for mass. Now, mass is basically how much stuff an object is made of. Think of it like this. An object with more mass is just harder to get moving, and once it is moving, it's harder to stop. It's got more inertia. And finally, we have A for acceleration. Now listen up, because this is super important. Acceleration isn't just speeding up. It's any change in an object's velocity. That means changing its speed or its direction. So yeah, hitting the brakes or even just turning a corner, that's acceleration too. All right, we've got the pieces. Let's put them together and see this law in the real world. And we're going to start with the most classic example of all, the one that might have even inspired Newton himself, the apple. So, picture this apple hanging from a tree. At first, the forces are totally balanced. You've got gravity pulling it down, sure, but the stem is pulling it up with the exact same amount of force. But then, the stem gets weak. Suddenly, those forces aren't balanced anymore, and gravity's pull takes over. And here's the law in action. See, when the forces were balanced, there was no acceleration. The apple just hung there, perfectly still. But the second gravity became the winner, that unbalanced force, the apple's motion had to change. It accelerated, falling right to the ground. That, my friends, is F equals ma. And this idea applies to literally everything in nature. If you're curious and want to see some more cool real-world examples, we've put together some great stuff for you over at samfortal.web.app. Okay, let's zoom in a bit. We're going from an entire apple tree to something way, way smaller. Because this powerful law works on the tiny stuff too, like a little bug just trying to hang out on a windshield. So here we go again, another battle of the forces. On one side, you have the bug's own force, its stickiness or adhesion, holding it onto the glass. But then it starts to rain. And now you've got a new force trying to push it off, the water. And it's the exact same story as the apple, just on a different scale. At first, the bug's stickiness is strong enough, so it stays put. But as more water pushes and pushes, that force eventually overpowers the stickiness. The result? An unbalanced force, which means the bug accelerates right off the windshield. We actually dig into all kinds of forces like friction and how water moves on our learning portal. You can check it all out at samf-portal.web.app. All right, for our last example, let's ramp up the energy and head out to the ballpark. Let's look at how a simple swing of a baseball bat is just pure, beautiful F equals ma. This is such a perfect way to see the link between force and acceleration. The mass, the baseball, it doesn't change, right? So if you hit it with a little force, like a gentle tap, you get a little acceleration. The ball kind of just dribbles away. But a huge, powerful swing, that's a massive force which creates an absolutely huge acceleration. So let's follow the action. You've got the mass, the baseball, just sitting there. Then comes the force, that incredible, powerful crack of the bat. And what does that force create? A massive, almost instant acceleration that sends the ball flying. The physics behind sports is honestly a whole fascinating world on its own. If you want to dive deeper into that, you know where to go. Visit us at samfortal.web.app. So, we've looked at an apple, a bug, and a baseball. Three totally different things, right? Let's tie it all together and see how they're all connected by this one incredible rule. Think about it. The gentle, constant pull of gravity. the steady push of water, the explosive impact from a baseball bat. They couldn't seem more different, but every single one of them is playing by the exact same simple set of rules. So if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. If you have an unbalanced force acting on a mass, that mass is going to accelerate. Force equals mass times acceleration. It's the rule that literally makes our world go round. And I'll leave you with a question. The next time you're just out and about, look around you. Pushing a shopping cart, a car speeding up, kicking a ball around. What else do you see that's being explained by this one simple, amazing law?
Thanks for joining me.